Welcome to the Christian Contractor Podcast.
Christian Contractor Podcast.
A show created for kingdom-driven Christian contractors that are focused on scaling their business in God's name while positively impacting the world around them. If you're ready to ascend from a contractor to a purpose-driven business owner, we're here to serve you. Here's your host, Brandon Guthrie.
You'll just be a lot more profitable, a lot more happy when you're spending your effort there versus the latter. And again, sometimes we have to do different things at different times of the year. I understand that you have, there may be some circumstances where it makes sense, but as an overall plan, again, please focus on how you can really get that higher end premium instead and why it's worth it, and craft a service and a way that you go to market, the way that you help do those jobs that's going to warrant it and justify it versus not. I think it's just something that we just don't think about often enough.
100%. Wow, that's huge. So for you Christian contractors listening in now, who are worried about the race to the bottom, the multiple bids, start pumping the brakes, zoom out a little bit.
Yeah.
Think about how you can put that premium product on your menu. Think about how you can create content, stay in front of your audience, and educate them on how you are giving them 4 times the value so that they can then pay twice the price. I love that. People will pay 4 times the value if they feel, they'll pay twice the price if they're getting 4 times the value. That's like a boom. That's an aha moment right there. Like, let's think about that, guys. Let's think about how we can deliver 4 times the value so we can charge twice the price. That's kind of circles back and maybe connects with that unique mechanism, that irresistible offer that, hey, I specifically do this. I stand for something, so I don't fall for anything. So now your price just went up because you're specialized. And on top of that, then by doing that, you can stack in other offers, making your perceived value 4 times the price, giving you the ability to do twice the price, charge double the price. So, man, so good.
Well, if I could, Brandon, just one other, real practical example that kind of ties it all together, in case this is helpful for those that are watching or those that are listening. One of my clients we just put together, and again, I'm talking about HVAC a little bit because it's kind of top of mind, because we just rolled this out for one of my clients who, by the way, doubled their revenue last year, finally broke through the 7-figure mark. They were really excited about it. So one of the things we did throughout the course of the year I want to talk about is that we helped them when there was a lot of things we did, but one of the ones that I think helps maybe illustrate some of these different points is that we helped launch their VIP program, which basically included a couple of things. So included their furnace tune-up in the fall, included their AC tune-up in the spring, and it allows people who sign up for it to, they're top of the line or top of the list when emergency calls come through. They don't have to pay for emergency service rates and overages. They just get the standard rate no matter when they call. It doesn't matter when, day or night. Okay, so it included some of those things. It also included extended warranties on products and labor and service. It also gave them, again, there's a handful of other things. But the point is, we crafted this VIP plan that allowed people. It wasn't upsell, but it started to provide this peace of mind. Allowed the team, my client and their team, to be ones to proactively reach out to people and say, look, hey, we're going to get you on the schedule for your fall tune-up. Guess what happens? Okay, so the person doesn't worry to think about it. They're going to show up and get that done. But while they're there, what are they going to see? Now they're actually in the home twice a year minimum. And I'm now able to say, look, I noticed that you don't have a fireplace. Would you like to add one? Or I noticed that I was looking at your garage and I noticed that you've got a shop out there, but it's kind of cold during the year. We can actually put in a heating unit in your garage so you don't have to freeze while you're working on your cars or you're working on your stuff. Why don't we throw open one of those hot dog vents, right? Hot dog heating machines, right? So because they're there, they can now do these upselling, do the cross-selling, but it's part of their VIP program, which, oh, by the way, for the customer, it's a huge peace of mind. They're getting better service. They don't have to worry about having to think about calling when these things are going to happen. They know they're going to get better rates. So it's a better value for them. They're willing to pay for it, and it also opens up all these opportunities. So what is that version for you? If you're HVAC, I just basically gave you the game plan. If you're not HVAC, you do something else, okay? There's other versions of that. Obviously, that's one of the things I love doing most is helping people come up with what their version of that is. So I'd love to connect with anybody to help if they're not sure how to apply those things to their business. But hopefully I'm giving you some ideas and hopefully giving some people some inspiration to go get that done.
Yes, so good, man. Yeah, for those Christian contractors listening right now, boom, check yourself, audit yourself.
Yeah.
VIP program that's huge, staying top of mind. And also, one thing that came to mind is the content strategy that you were talking about,
Right.
helping build up that value. What comes to mind is that you need to build an audience. So, do you have any recommendations on how to build an audience? What's your favorite way to go about doing that so you actually can post content, post reviews, and them not only be seen by their mom and their sister?
Sure. Now, I appreciate you asking. So I find that if we're talking, I guess, online specifically, there's really just two ways. It's either organic or it's paid. And so, I mean, I think if you're, once you get clear as to who your ideal customer is, I think that's something I'd want to make sure that you understand before you spend a dime on any paid traffic, because if you try and just blast ads to anybody, you're going to have a really hard time unless you have so much brand awareness because people know about you as well as they know Target or Nike or Apple or Google. Until you're there, okay, you need to be able to know exactly who you want to target, who you want to go after. So when it comes to paid marketing strategies, we talked a little bit about getting clear as to your ideal customer, having that in place first and doing some of those fundamentals we talked about so that you can be ready to have someone like Brandon or others be able to help you get in front of the right audience when it comes to getting paid traffic. There really can be a great tool once you have some of those, the right level of clarity on how to find them and who it is you want to attract, and have the right offers in place so that when you do find them, you can convert at a much higher level. So I think paid traffic, again, Google, Facebook, Instagram, all the others, I think there's a lot of ways to grow a list using paid strategies like that. If that's not the right fit for you right now, or is something to supplement that with, then that's where we go organic. And by organic, there's a lot of online and off ways to do it. I guess some of the things that I found that worked really effective is that just starting to join different Facebook groups or communities where your people are. Where do they hang out? What kinds of things are they in? What are they interested in? Where might you find them? Participating in discussions, forums, groups, community events, those kinds of things, and making those kinds of connections. Reaching out to people and say, hey, I noticed we're in some of these same groups. I know we have some of these same interests. I'd just love to connect with you. And you start to friend request and build these people and make them connected to you. You start to promote your content, and they'll start to see it organically and give them an opportunity to then say, well, hey, maybe I would like to talk with him or her or whoever that is, or connect with that business. I see some of the things they're doing and they seem to know what they're talking about, and they seem to have an interest in ways they can help me or help fix this problem. Then I'm going to be able to trust them. So those would be some of the ways that I get a real super condensed, hopefully that's pretty basic way to start to think about how it would start your organic strategy. But those are just a couple of pointers, I guess, to get going off the ground if that's something you're not doing now.
That's awesome. I love that organic strategy. You can get out there and create connections the old-fashioned way. Well, almost now it's not old-fashioned. The internet, organic.
That's right.
Then obviously paid advertising. You can build your list. So obviously then we're talking about that content that we're creating is going to be sent out to them via email. So once again, circling back to getting comfortable with building that list and sitting in front of them with that content, right?
Yeah, and there's one thing I just realized I should talk about that hopefully gives people. I want to give people a little bit more tactical example of what to do. So let me do that just for a second, if I could. I know we're doing okay on time. I'd say that so it's great. Maybe you've made a bunch of friend requests either to your personal page or to your business page, however, or again we're talking at Facebook specifically, or whichever other platform you're comfortable with, whichever one really you like to use the most, whichever one you're most comfortable using. Just pick that one. I tend to use Facebook because that's where I have found the most success. But again, pick whichever one you want. But then as you start to think about what content to produce, because that's one of the things that I find a lot of folks struggle with. What should I even talk about? That's not something I naturally do. I'm not the one walking around town with a selfie stick. Okay, you don't have to. That's not me either. Okay, so instead, I've got a framework that I share with clients, but just at a real simple level. Think about the 2 or 3 things about your business that you could talk about. If someone just put a microphone in your face and said, go, talk for 10 minutes, what would that be? Okay, is that how you service equipment? Is it, or is ways to make sure that your furnace doesn't break down? Or is it, here's a way to make sure that your foundation isn't going to crack? Or I mean, what are the things that you do that if someone, again, you could just talk endlessly for just on and on. If they just put a microphone in your face, hey, how do you solve this problem? Or how do you fix, or how do you install properly this thing? Right? Have just, what are those 2 or 3 things? And that can just be your themes for the week. And then just once, twice, maybe 3 times a week, just talk about that one thing. Okay? Again, always bearing in mind who your ideal client is, but how you'd speak to them. But what are the things they should be thinking about? What are the questions that they're asking, but what are the questions that they should be asking, but they're not? I mean, those are just some of the ways you can start to brainstorm out ways to just be able to post and share some things that's going to be useful for those connections to consume, tips that they should learn from. And but always native to and close to your natural area of expertise anyway. So hopefully that's helpful. I want to give a little more tactical advice that people can try, even if this is brand new to them. It's something they've never done before. It's not as hard as you think. It's just get past it. It's going to be okay. But I want to give you a little confidence and a framework to go do it.
That's great. Yeah, exactly. What comes to mind? What could you go on a rant about?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I love that. So huge. Wow. Okay. For the contractors listening in right now, that's 3 major golden nuggets. Audit yourself. I challenge you to take uncomfortable action. Step into these uncomfortable action. That's how we get anywhere, is we step. So let's start stepping. Let's step into it. And so number 1 is referrals. So not relying on referral marketing only, not putting all your eggs in one basket. We challenge you to step out and to build a marketing system or marketing strategy of some sort, so that way you're off the roller coaster and you're not a slave to referrals, and you can have security and freedom for your friend, for your family and the people around you. And number 2 is to get rid of the tire kickers, is start putting start niching down on your irresistible offer, on one thing that you do. Stand for something so you don't fall for anything. Don't try to please everyone, because then you please no one. And number 3 is to avoid the race to the bottom, which I know many of you are familiar with. This is a huge aha moment for me, is people will pay twice the price if they believe they are getting 4 times the value. So boom, that'll get your wheels turning. That's a huge gold nugget. Implement that in your business. Audit yourself, check yourselves. My hope and my prayer is that contractors listening right now are feeling challenged and are having ideas pop in their heads of how they're going to be able to implement this into their business, how they can start doing a marketing strategy, how they can create an irresistible offer, and how they can give 4 times the value so they can charge twice the price. And lastly, so to be respectful of everyone's time, we're going to go ahead and close this up here in a minute. But I just want to ask one last thing. This is the Christian Contractor Podcast, and the mission for the Christian Contractor Podcast is that we turn contractors' businesses into their ministries, and that it flourishes in the name of God, so that they could be a light in the darkness. So we're going to touch on a little bit of how we can integrate God's wisdom into our business, and how we can operate on biblical principles. And I'll let you jump in there, David. I know you're a man of faith, and foundation is a huge thing. We could scale our business, but if it's not built on a firm foundation, it's very likely we're going to lose it all, and we're going to be back to square one. So how can we build our business on a firm foundation from principles from God?
Well, thanks, Brandon. There's so many answers to this question, but I love that you asked it. So I'm going to pick just one for today. And for me, I think it's important that you operate consistently from a service mentality. Okay? How can you help serve those around you? How can you help solve their problems, enrich their lives, make things better for them? And how can you help them first? Think again very clearly about who you feel called to serve, or who you feel that you can make a difference for in the things that you do, in the products or services that your company provides. How can you do it in a way that's going to help serve them and really meet their needs beyond just the thing, beyond just patching the hole, beyond just fixing the thing that's broken? How can you go about it in a way that's going to help them have greater peace, have greater stability, have greater confidence in that their things are going to work, or that they can take care of their own families better? Whatever that is that you do, how again, orient it and frame it for yourself and how we can serve them at a higher level. Because I find that if we think about how we can serve people and how we can help them first, rather than focusing on what we need, which is revenue, which is money, which is if we get caught, especially in some of those moments where we've all gone through them. I've been in situations where I've had to hold my paycheck, and I've been asked to just hang on to it, not cash it. That's tough when you get in those moments. I understand what that's like. I understand that pressure and the fear and the strain that comes from moments when you have this, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay this bill, and what that can lead you to do. But instead of falling into where that naturally gravitates and naturally pulls, instead focus much more so on how you can serve and how you can help provide better service and better solutions for those that we're after. I think as we do that, that's where the rest of the things will start to come into place. If that becomes a little bit more of your focus, a little bit more of your North Star on the service mentality, then I think, and I can commit and promise, at least that's been my experience, that you'll find you'll get a lot more sustainable success as you start to grow. It'll change the way you make decisions versus falling into this, well, I just need to get a sale, I just need to get money, I just need to make another deal, right? So instead, that's where I'd encourage the orientation to be service first, rather than serving others, rather than your own personal needs.
Amen to that, man. 100%. That's the most selfish thing you can do is be selfless, right? And serve others and put everyone else before yourself. And I think that's a great principle that God has given us. And it's kind of like gravity to me. Is the way I see the principles that God has given us. Is it's like if I'm gonna drop this phone, it's gonna hit the table because of gravity. I can rely on it, and the principles that God gives us on how to operate in life, I feel like they're very practical, and I feel like it's easy for many of us to forget that that God has given us an instruction manual on how to live life, you know, and some of the concepts can feel abstract, but they're very practical. And you know, right. Like sowing seeds and reaping the harvest, like that is 100% like, hey, let's serve, let's over deliver. Tony Robbins, over deliver. Let's over deliver now. Sow the seeds, till the earth, plant, you know, take care of our crops, and by serving and over delivering first, we know on the other end we're going to reap the harvest. And so to me, that's a huge principle. Thank you for that, David. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, and sorry, just two of the things that came to me. I wanted to make sure I emphasize a little bit more. Is that I think that because I don't want this piece to get lost. The natural orientation when we start thinking about, okay, how can I serve my customers? That's important. And I think that comes perhaps more intuitively. But where I'd ask you to take another chance to take stock and evaluate a little bit is, we know that as business owners, we're never going to reach the level we want to alone. And our greatest successes will come through other people. So what we want to think about is apply that same type of evaluation to not only just your customers, but also to your employees and people on your team. How can you serve them at a higher level? How can you help them in a way that they're going to feel excited to come to work with you? They're going to be excited about going out and doing the service calls or going and working on the job site. How can you help provide an environment that's going to serve them in what they're trying to get done? Know your people and take the time to get to know what your people's needs are, what their stresses are, what they're dealing with, so you can help provide them the higher level of service for as being a part of your company, being part of your team. And then also you're going to have other partners or other vendors, or your suppliers, the other types of business relationships that you have as part of course of doing business. How can you also take care of them and serve them in a way that's going to be meaningful, so that you are the go-to partner, vendor of choice? Or how are those relationships? So I think that same principle applies. I usually look at all three factors. It's how do you serve your customers, how are you serving your employees and people on your team, and how are you serving your business partners or vendors or suppliers, whatever kind of structure you have with your business. There's going to be somebody else that you have to rely on for something of what you're doing. So again, how can you serve them at a higher level so that you have a stronger relationship that's going to allow you to flourish and get to where you ultimately want to be? If any of those isn't quite where it needs to be, it's worth taking time to see how you can and turn it up through a service mentality.
Ooh, that's good. I've thought of the customers, serving the customers. I've thought of the team, but I haven't thought about like the third party vendors. Yeah. That's like, I'm auditing myself, and I need to check myself, and you know, I can potentially improve that. I'm sure many of us listening right now are thinking, oh wow, maybe I should do this. And it's like, yeah, you're planting seeds, and later it's going to pay off. You know, by serving others. It's the most selfish thing you can do is be selfless. So, dude, amen to that. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that, David. Man, so. David, gold nuggets. We know you're helping contractors grow past 7 figures all the time. So for contractors that are not there yet, maybe they're not even at 6 figures yet, you know, I encourage you to really take notes here, really listen, really apply, take action. Don't just listen. Knowledge is worthless without action. So I encourage you guys to really audit yourself, write some action items down, put a due date, and let's get it going. So, all right, guys, thank you so much. David, where can people learn more about you?
Yeah. Thanks for asking. Again, it's really been a pleasure to be here. I hope that those that are listening have gotten something out of it. I'm here to serve, and I would love to hear some feedback as to things that people found most useful. More importantly, as you mentioned, the actions that they've taken. I'd love to know what people are implementing, what they're going to do differently because they heard this today. It wasn't just something that they listened to on the drive or wherever. I want to know what you did. So please shoot me an email. That's probably the easiest. David@lt3strategy.com. Shoot me an email if you're listening to this and tell me what you did. Okay, don't just say hi. Of course, I guess I'll say hi back. But I'm really interested in what you did as a result of what you did differently or what questions came to your mind. So shoot me an email, David@lt3strategy. But I've got a lot of other content that I share. So some of these frameworks, tools, resources I want to make available to anybody who's listening. You can find me on Facebook. Again, I'm David N. Smith. I have a lot of people. There's a lot of us out there. So you can, it's / DNS, my initials, David N. Smith, DNS LT3 on Facebook. That's my personal profile page, or you can also find my Facebook page for my business. That's at LT3 Strategy. So LT3 Strategy on Facebook. Those would be the two best places for you to get access to all my other content, things that I share, frameworks, tools, videos, lots of things we do to try and help people and help them get to the level they want.
Dude, perfect. Everyone, don't miss out. Get connected with David. Shoot him an email. It's going to be a blessing for you and your business and your family. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Christian Contractor Podcast. I am Brandon Guthrie with Dream Design Labs. And if you're a Christian contractor that wants to scale from 7 figures per year to 8 figures in a way that positively impacts the world around you, head to contractorscalingchallenge.com/join the challenge and register for free, where you'll learn the step-by-step process that we use to scale contractors using paid advertising. I guarantee you'll get a ton of value from it. Remember, marketing doesn't have to be hard. All you need is the right tools. Till next time, stay blessed.
Thank you, Christian Contractor family, for hanging out with us today. Let's get out there, do great work, and make a positive impact. If you want to connect with Brandon, head to Instagram and follow him at BG44. Let's change not only your life, but the world around you.